back to our Chandler Cooking Show. We are going to be making pizza with spinach, kale, and green onions from the garden. It's going to be tasty and get lots of vegetables. This is a simple recipe. It's going to use Greek yogurt and whole wheat flour and baking powder. Now we could make this with just self-rising flour and Greek yogurt, as some of y'all got to do in summer school last year. But we're going to try to change this up a little bit, get a little extra fiber and health. So we're going to use whole wheat flour, and then we're going to use some baking powder to help it rise. It won't be as fluffy as if we would have used self-rising flour, but it's going to have more fiber and vitamins in it. So we're going to get 1 cup of whole wheat flour. I have a half cup, so I'm going to do 2 of them, but this is 1 cup. And then we're going to put 1.25 cups of yogurt. We're putting a little extra yogurt because the whole wheat flour makes it a little thicker. Now you could also use, instead of yogurt, you could use applesauce, which is easier to keep on hand and a little cheaper. This is going to have, I'm going to read the label here, in 1 serving size, which is 3/4 cup, it has 16 grams of protein and 15% of the recommended calcium for a 2,000 calorie diet. So this is going to be packed full with good ingredients in our crust. All right, so I'm going to put 1.25 cups. So we're going to make sure we get a nice good cup here, even it off, and make sure my spatula was clean. 1/3 cup, 2/3 cup. That would be 3/3 cup, which would be 1 cup, and then we're going to put 1 more third. Now this might be too liquidy, and if it is, I'm going to add some more flour as I mix it. I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of baking powder, and you want to make sure you add this before you add the yogurt. I kind of messed up there. The reason you add it before you add the yogurt is so that it mixes real well in the flour. Mix it here on the side with the flour, because I should have done that before I put the wet ingredients in, because it's going to clunk up when it gets that yogurt. And nobody wants a big bite of baking powder. That does not taste good. You can hear the oven beeping. I am preheating it because we're about to make a pizza crust and then we'll cook it. So that's why the oven beeped, preheating the oven. All right, I've washed my hands really well so they're clean to make sure I don't get germs on this. All right, I'm gonna put some flour on my hands to try to keep this from sticking. It's gonna be messy, but try to keep it from sticking. If it's too liquidy, I'll add some more flour, but I want it to be as moist as possible to make it as fluffy as possible. Since this is whole wheat flour, it's hard to get it fluffy. I'm going to take it to our pan, which has been sprayed with Pam so that it doesn't stick. Still going to need a little more flour. I'm just going to spread it all out. All right, we've got it spread out. I like mine thin, so I try to get it real spread out, but you can do thick if you want to. You could even put some cheese in here and fold it over and do a stuffed crust, all sorts of options. So I'm gonna carefully put it in the oven and let it cook for a little bit so the crust can get, so it's not too doughy, and then I'll put the toppings on it. All right, we have pre-cooked our crust to get it so it won't be too doughy, so we're gonna put toppings on it. This is where you can have a lot of fun. You can put what you like on it. I'm going to show you some options, but you can do all sorts of things. I'm going to put some Italian seasonings on the bottom, give it a little flavor. I love using herbs to season things. Now I'm going to put some tomato sauce. Tomato sauce. I'm going to spread it all over. You want to try not to have holes in your crust, or else the tomato sauce is going to go down and it could stick on the pan, but sometimes it's hard not to have holes. Good, healthy veggies. I'm going to do some things from the garden. We've got red Russian kale, regular kale, which is more similar to what you might see in the store, spinach. It got kind of torn up with the storm last night, but this is spinach, and some onions. Lots of green, healthy vegetables. Got some purple. You want to try to eat the colors of your rainbow, eat different color items. I'm also going to add some olives because I love olives. and some mushrooms. Again, you can put whatever you want to on these pizzas, whatever you want to eat, switch it up, make it tasty. All right, I'm just gonna tear these up. You can always make half your pizza one type and half the other if you have people in your family like different things. Or you can make 2 different pizzas. When you're using cans, you want to be careful because this can be really sharp and it can cut you. So it's probably safer to use a spoon to sprinkle it around. I want to make sure we're being safe. Almost forgot our onions. It's going to be like a supreme pizza, fresh from the garden. And then don't worry, we haven't forgotten the cheese. I'm going to use freshly grated pepper jack cheese. If you freshly grate it, you got to be very careful that you don't cut your hands. It's easier to use already grated cheese, but at the time, this is what I bought. I like to use different types of cheese. Normally, I want to use Swiss, but at the time, when I bought this, this is what the store had. So I'm going to put some Swiss cheese on this. I'm gonna bake it. Being careful I don't touch anything so I don't get burned. All right, and we have a freshly cooked pizza with a healthy crust, lots of vegetables, got some cheese, but definitely doesn't have all the preservatives or other products that would be in a store-bought pizza. So healthy pizza with vegetables from the garden. Also, we made a second pizza today, and it has spinach from the garden, and we put chicken, barbecue sauce, and some banana peppers with cheese. All sorts of different types of pizzas you can make.